You can imagine it like this. In the Philippines, we have the Mines and Geosciences Bureau, which regulates land-based mining, right? And there, if some of you have been into following up news in the land-based mineral industry, the process goes through the MGB, that's the Mines and Geosciences Bureau, under the DENR. And there's a whole procedure on how to apply for exploration permits. Bring that to the international scene, meaning the areas beyond the ocean seabed beyond national jurisdiction, it's the ISA which regulates.
So every country has the right to claim an exclusive economic zone of up to 200 nautical miles from the coastline. And within that exclusive economic zone, the coastal state has full sovereign rights over the living and non-living resources. States also have the right to claim a continental shelf, which may go beyond 200 nautical miles, depending on the geology. And it's a very, very technical qualification, but I understand Philippines has an extension of its continental shelf. And on the continental shelf, the coastal state has exclusive rights over the non-living resources. So all the minerals, the oil and gas and everything else. And then beyond that area, that is called the international area, and that comes under the management of the International Seabed Authority, which all states parties to the Law of the Sea Convention are automatically members. So we have 168 members, including the Philippines, and the rules in relation to that area are adopted at that international level by all 168 countries.
Let me clarify. The seabed, even close to where we are now, that's already seabed. But the seabed that SG is mentioning about within the purview of the ISA is that area beyond national jurisdiction. So take this as the Philippine area of national jurisdiction, West Philippine Sea. Beyond here, that's the purview of the ISA. This is seabed, that's seabed.
Correct.
Exactly. There is a current, we all understand that there are at least 5 countries who are laying a claim over the South China Sea. China, Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, Philippines, even Brunei. Nothing is settled at the moment. But if you put all together the claims, none of them have submitted. Only Malaysia and Vietnam have submitted in another United Nations organizations, that's the Commission on the Limits of the Continental Shelf under DUALOS. But nothing is settled in the South China Sea as far as jurisdiction is concerned. So it will be very difficult to answer the question right now.
Correct. I think it's best not to focus on the South China Sea because we do not deal with the South China Sea. We don't deal with any disputed areas or areas under national jurisdiction. We deal with the area beyond national jurisdiction. What happens within national jurisdiction is a matter for the sovereignty of the states that controls that jurisdiction. So that is a completely different matter. It doesn't make it vulnerable or not vulnerable, but it's under the control, it's under national jurisdiction.
Okay. Marine scientific research, or MSR in general, is very broad. You can do marine scientific research for biological objectives, uh, but let us focus on marine scientific research for deep seabed minerals. Okay. So if the question is, has the Philippines done any marine scientific research for the deep seabed within our national jurisdiction? There's very little, but we are starting. In the academy where I come from, we have collaborations with other institutions, foreign institutions, for example, and only last year, May, there was a marine scientific research over at the West Philippine Sea, we call it, but this is South China Sea, to start conducting initial studies. It's a very, very long process. It's not like an overnight thing that you go out to the sea and then you discover things, right? So we are starting bit by bit. But one thing I should mention is that when we were able to lay claim over the Philippine rice and extended the continental shelf over there, I think as far as seabed minerals are concerned, that's our best bet for now. So I've always been in similar talks, in similar conferences like this. I've always been sort of advocating that the Philippine government, should take a more active role in already supporting marine scientific research, support the scientists so that they can perform these initial studies. We have a long way to go compared to our neighbors, actually. So,
Bakit important? Why are these research expeditions or undertakings important? Like, what's in it for the Philippines?
well, that's where you start trying to understand if we indeed have minerals or not, seabed minerals or not, and then from there, we start studying how to recover them, exploit them, but all following international rules, especially the environmental rules.
Morning, sir. It's Katrina Domingo from ABS-CBN. Sir, just to give our audience an idea on how vast the ocean's wealth is, can you give us an overview of how much copper, Acting Secretary Jose mentioned several minerals a while ago, cobalt, manganese, copper. How much is at stake in these deep sea explorations? Should nations already start exploitation?
Yes.
Well, I can start, and then maybe Dr.
Yeah.
Mario can come in because he's an expert. He's a geologist. But what we know is from many, many years of research that the minerals in the seabed contain more metals, more minerals than all the resources that are left on land. Obviously, we've been exploiting land-based resources for thousands of years, and the seabed we haven't exploited at all. So it's new territory in that sense. But if you can consider that just one part of the Pacific Ocean between Hawaii and Mexico is an area we call the Clarion-Clipperton Zone, which is very, very rich in seafloor minerals. And we have something like 16 or 17 exploration projects in that area. Well, it's estimated that that area alone contains more copper, cobalt, nickel, and manganese than all the remaining terrestrial reserves of those minerals. So that gives you some idea of the scale of these resources. Hundreds of years of future supply, if not thousands of years. Great potential. But so far, I want to emphasize again, we are still at the stage of exploration, of understanding the resource and understanding even more how to exploit it in a sustainable way. I don't know if you want to add any more.
Yes, just briefly, I should mention also that we should think even beyond simply exploiting those mineral resources, because one of the major impacts, let's say for instance, exploitation will start in the deep seabed. one of the major impacts of exploiting the minerals in the seabed will be the economies of countries who are highly dependent on land-based mining, Philippines, for example. So, for example, in the Philippines, we are currently mining gold and copper on land. But if the deep seabed mining for gold and copper starts, which is very vast, it can strongly impact on the economy of the Philippines when it comes to its profits from mining gold and copper on land. So even beyond, trying to understand the vastness of the minerals in the deep seabed, there has to be, again, the emphasis is that there has to be a rules-based approach in order for the mandate of ISA to be strictly obeyed, which is to distribute the profits for equally or equitably for the benefit of all mankind, Filipinos included, of course. The short message would be everybody owns the richness of the area beyond national jurisdiction. So each of us here will have a share of anything that is taken out of the deep seabed beyond national jurisdiction.
Follow-up question. As the ISA crafts the policy, the rules-based policy for deep sea mining, how likely is it for it to become legally binding? Because the problem with several UN policies is that several countries would simply pull out of it when conditions are no longer in favor of their nation. How do you protect the policy on deep sea bed mining from that occurrences, from those occurrences?
Well, it's not a policy. We do adopt legally binding rules and regulations, and I think that's what's very unique about the International Seabed Authority. The rules and regulations are adopted by the member states, and they are legally binding. So all the exploration projects are governed by legally binding contracts, which again is something unique. They are contracts with the member states of the International Seabed Authority. They can be enforced, and all our rules are hard law, not soft law. So I understand what you're saying about some soft law policies and declarations and so on, but we adopt legally binding rules and regulations.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe to wrap up, we invite our distinguished officials to say some concluding statement.
Well, just to conclude, thank you very much for your interest. As I mentioned at the opening session just now, I think this is a very important initiative. I commend my colleagues from the Philippines for inviting us, giving us the honor to take part in this, what is effectively a national conversation about an international matter. I think it's a highly commendable initiative that I hope is followed by other member states. Before you decide what to do with a resource, first of all, you need to understand it. As Dr. Mario said, you need to know what you have, and only then you can make a rational decision about whether to exploit it, what impact it will have on other sectors of your economy, and how you can make a wise decision going forward. So we're very pleased and privileged to be here, and I hope that our contribution can have an impact and can be of some benefit to this important national discussion. So thank you all very much for your interest.
I have a question for them. Sure. Ambassador, what's our position on deep sea mining? Is the Philippines in favor of deep sea mining?
Sorry?
Is the Philippine government in favor of deep sea mining?
Well,
Because a lot of environmentalists are saying it would impact the ocean ecosystem.
well, yes, definitely. whatever is for the development of our um, um, industries here, and whatever will benefit the Philippines is of course of interest to the administration. So definitely we are looking very closely at this and ensuring that we are able to collaborate very well with the Seabed Authority on all of these matters.
Are we in favor?
Thank you.
Defi-
Thank you,
definitely.
Mr. Ambassador. Thank you everyone. We'll resume the session.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ay, kumusta?
Yeah, actually, many of your questions will be